Hello everyone, welcome back to Planet Coaster and welcome back to the Wicker Man recreation. Today it's going to be mainly the track work really, supports, footers, that sort of stuff. You're going to see me with the footers right here, right now, and the footers are going to take a while to do because I basically have to do these concrete slabs around the entire ride, so that is going to take quite a while to do. I have been doing it since the start of the project, and I'm just completing this the deer wall turn area right here, because I did do the deer wall turn a couple of episodes ago, and I never really got around to completing it. I did the supports on the outside, but I don't think I actually finished doing the supports on the inside, which is of course what I'm doing here. And because of the restrictions of Planet Coaster, you can't really do a lot about that. These supports are quite inaccurate for my liking, but well, it's the best I could do really with what you have to, the tools you have in Planet Coaster. And in this episode, I feel like instead of talking more about what I'm doing, I'm gonna give more of my opinions on the new game, Planet Zoo. Now, if you haven't heard about Planet Zoo, it's basically Planet Coaster 2. It's the successor to Planet Coaster, but this time it's to do with safaris and animals and zoos, really, instead of coasters. There is still going to be some rides in Planet Zoo. From what I've seen on screenshots, there's like a train ride, but it's mainly going to be this safari game really. And I'm actually quite excited for Planet Zoo. Whilst they could have done it as a DLC for Planet Coaster, like an expansion pack like they did with RCT3, if you all remember that, they did like a water parks expansion pack and I'd say Planet Zoo, what am I talking about, and a safari expansion pack for RCT3. And they could have done that because Planet Zoo essentially is the same game as Planet Coaster. It's got the same guests, it's got the same animations, the same art style. If you've seen the screenshots, it's Planet Coaster but with animals and zoos and weather, and without the coasters, of course. I am quite disappointed we're not gonna get like a fusion between the two games of Planet Coaster and Planet Zoo, because then what you could do something like Busch Gardens or Kolmården, where you have this zoo and it's got these big massive roller coasters. Kolmården in Sweden, it's quite a big zoo, I think, and they've got like some family rides, and then they've just got this massive RMC, or knocked the mic there, sorry, this massive RMC called Wildfire, and it's rated as one of the best RMCs in the world. So it's kind of a disappointment that we aren't gonna really get to do them. I mean, there's tons and tons of animals as Theme Maker's Toolkit items on the workshop, but it's quite disappointing we're not going to be able to do coasters in Planet Zoo. And so for those who don't know, Planet Zoo is coming out this autumn, or fall if you're not from the UK. I don't get why do you call it fall? Because I've always known it as autumn, I've never called it fall, so it's quite odd really. But yeah, I feel like I definitely need to talk about the weather in Planet Zoo though. In some screenshots, they've showed that you can have snow, they've showed that there's going to be fog and rain, and so with it essentially being the exact same game as Planet Coaster, why can't we also have those weather systems in Planet Coaster? Because they've been saying for so long, weather's going to slow down the game, it's going to decrease everyone's FPS, we're not going to put it in, and then they go and put it in Planet Zoo, which is essentially a modded Planet Coaster, really. It's, why aren't we getting it in Planet Coaster then if you're putting it in Planet Zoo? Don't know. but I definitely feel like Planet Coaster, when Planet Zoo releases, Planet Coaster is going to be taking a step back. Frontier is going to take a step back with Planet Coaster. It's going to come out of the spotlight, you know, because Planet Coaster is, you know, it just had a crash there, which is what I've noticed more recently with the Classic Rides update, but I'll talk about that later. So back to my point, Planet Coaster has actually been out for quite a while now. What's it? The 2.5 years, give or take? No, yeah. It first came out as alpha in the start of 2016, so that's 2016, 2017, 2018, 3.5. So that's 3.5 years. God, I'm not good at maths. But yeah, so that's 3.5 years from the start of 2016 to now, and you know, it's been out for quite a while, so I feel like Planet Coaster will definitely take a step back, and maybe with Planet Coaster taking a step back, we might actually get a proper Planet Coaster 2. I still want Planet Coaster 2. You know, as much as Planet Coaster is great, there's so many things Planet Coaster can improve on. You know, management, I don't really play management myself. I've never played it. I always do sandbox. But I've heard that the people who do play the management game mode say that it's not really that challenging. You know, it's not really that good. And so games like Parkitect, their management mode is much better and it's a lot more challenging. And one thing that an idea I've had with Planet Coaster for ages is like sort of a coaster train editor and a flat ride editor, where you're able to basically change the theming and the looks of the coaster train or the flat ride. So, you know, it would be very, very interesting to see these things in Planet Coaster. You know, I understand if, you know, they just can't do that. That's asking too much, probably, yeah. But it would be so cool to have a tool like that in Planet Coaster, I think. Like, just think of the things you can actually do with scenery. You would have so much freedom. You really would. And, you know, back to my point of Planet Coaster taking a step back, I really don't want to repeat to RCT3, where, you know, it was a massive game when it first released, massive. And, you know, after a couple years, Atari and Frontier eventually kind of forgot about it. They stopped supporting it. And, you know, these days you can just easily pirate RCT3 off of any pirating website. And it's like, I know I'm not going to encourage you to do that. Like, get it on Steam, pay for it. But, you know, it just shows the lack of support for the game, that it's so easy to pirate. And I fear that's what's going to happen to Planet Coaster as well. Because when RCT3 took a step back, the entire, genre of roller coaster games went silent. And, you know, it wasn't until, you know, Planet Coaster and RCT World, when they were first announced, when the roller coaster game genre first, returned. And I'm not counting the stupid mobile RCT games, because they were rubbish. But, you know, Planet Coaster and RCT World were the ones to properly bring back the roller coaster game genre into the industry. And I feel like if Planet Zoo takes over Planet Coaster, you know, it might happen again. I know there's other roller coaster games out now, like Parkitect and a new one called Ultimate Coaster X, I think. I haven't really looked at it that much. Apparently it's got a really good coaster editor though, so might take a look at that game. If you want me to make a video on that game, put it in the comments and I will, really. And you know, you get my point, really. So let's end this subject and let's actually talk about the Wicker Man recreation, because I think I've kind of coming to an end on the supports and the footers here. Still doing some work, and you know, here's the start of the terrain. And I feel like, you know, these Alton Towers coasters, their terrain is so weird, especially Wicker Man, because Nemesis, most people just say, oh, Nemesis it's just in a big pit, but it's not. It's got all these rock formations, it's got the terrain changes all around it, and it's the same with Wicker Man. You know, that S-bend coming out of the Airtime Hill tunnel, you know, it's on a massive hill, like it touches the ground, yet it is still going downhill. And it's just like, it just puts into perspective how much the terrain changes. And it's the same with Smiler, really. I feel like the terrain changes allow Smiler to have the 14 inversions, because, you know, Smiler isn't really a tall coaster. It's, you know, its lift hills, like, they're only just, how tall is Smiler? Let's quickly Google it. 30 meters, so yeah, that's about 100 feet. So, you know, it's not actually that tall, Smiler, yet it has so many inversions, and I feel like that is definitely down to the terrain, and it's one of the reasons why Wicker Man is such a good coaster, because it's not that tall at all. Wicker Man is a fairly short coaster. I mean short as in height, not length. You know, it's a fairly small coaster, but because of the terrain, it's able to keep its speed and its pace throughout the entire ride, and you know, it just allows it to keep going until the brake run. And I feel like coasters that can do that are absolutely great, because the kinds of coasters that sort of run out of momentum, run out of speed before the brake run are kind of like meh. And I feel like a great example of that would definitely be Shockwave at Drake Manor, because Jesus, Shockwave is a really short coaster, but it runs out of speed and momentum so quickly. You know, by the time it gets to the double corkscrew, it's actually going quite slow, I think. And I already hate Shockwave enough. I feel like stand-up coasters just should not exist. It's just amazing to have coasters like this in the UK. You know, America can have these big, massive, tall hypercoasters all they want, but they're never going to get a coaster like this that can hug the terrain so much. Dollywood comes close to that, but once again, Dollywood's coasters, they're not really that terrain hugging, really. You know, Lightning Rod hugs the terrain in like a few areas, but not as much as Nemesis or Wicker Man, or even Galactica, actually. And it's what makes Alton Towers so unique, right? I've rambled on about this way too long. Here you're seeing me actually come to a really frustrating part of the build, which is this area underneath the lift hill and the brake run, and where the queue line goes. Because Planet Coaster Frontier, the way they've done the pathing system is really, really annoying. And so, because it goes straight down those stairs in real life, but because the pathing system is so stupid, oh, my foot is going numb. Oh, ow, my foot is actually going quite numb. I've been sitting on it for too long. But, you know, because the pathing system in Planet Coaster, I've had to, you know, make it wonky like that, and it looks horrible. But yeah, enough of that. Here you're seeing me begin the chain lift shed. I don't actually know what this is. I think it is just like some sort of housing shed thing for the chain lift, because the chain lift goes through it and then over the brake run, I think, and then back to the bottom. But yeah, it's like a little hut that has the chain lift coming out of it. I don't exactly know what it is, but my guess is it's like a housing unit for the chain, really, and probably the mechanisms. To be honest, it's probably where the motor for the chain is. Is it? I don't know. Alton Towers engineers, if you're watching, am I right with that one? Because I don't actually know. But yeah, I actually found this building quite annoying and difficult to do, because it's such a small building and it has the queue line going right past it and like right next to it, as well as the brake run, well, the track into the brake run, I should say. And it made it quite difficult to do. You'll see me like here editing the path again, and because the pathing system in Planet Coaster is so stupid, it's, you know, quite annoying. Yeah, it is quite annoying. And honestly, I don't really know what to talk about anymore, so I think I might sign off for this video. There's about another 5 minutes of time lapse, so enjoy the last 5 minutes of time lapse, which is just building this shed and doing some like chain lift details. That's all the rest of the video is. So yeah, thank you for watching today's video, and I'll see you all whenever I do another video. I have like a massive Fort Park soundtrack video, which is like 45 minutes long, where I've compiled like all of the I'm a Score soundtracks, including like unreleased ones, and that's just been waiting to be rendered really. So yeah, I might upload that in the next few days, and yeah, I'll see you all very, very soon. Goodbye.